spicy decks of the week, where we take a look at all the cool, crazy decks from the past week that had success by either doing well in tournament, reaching King of Games, or by going on a win streak at the King of Games or Legend level. This week we have several decks that have new cards from the most recent selection box and the newest structure deck that just came out. Starting off, we have a Cyber Dragon infinitrack deck, which we showcased one of these a couple weeks ago, but again, we have some new toys to play with here, courtesy of the new selection box. The big one here is infinitrack Brutal Dozer. It is a level 5 Earth monster that says you contribute an Earth machine monster to special summon this card from your hand in defense position, and if you special summon this card from your hand, you can special summon an infinitrack monster from your deck in defense mode besides itself and negate its effects. You can only special summon Earth machine monsters for the rest of the turn, so you can see how this goes really nicely with something like Harvester, which can easily just search this out from your hand, and a 1 card turns into 2 cards and immediately allows you to go for an XYZ play off of this card's effect. So it's definitely a new powerful tool for this deck to have at its disposal. Of course, a lot of the infinitracks are level 5, so it pairs very nicely with Cyber Dragon. Again, not the first time we've seen this done. And we're running enough Cyber Dragon monsters to trigger our skill, Cyber Style Evolution, which is going to give you like Cyber Emergency and Power Bond, give you ways to a combo off and continue to decimate your opponent. So we have plenty of other synergies here as well, and a lot of consistency with being able to search out our spells and trap cards, right? A lot of these things can be searched out. Cybernetic Overflow can be searched out with Cyber Dragon Core. Spin Turn and Outrigger can be searched out with your infinitrack monsters through Drag Shovel and through Trencher. So we have a lot of ways to get to our back row and very consistently to be able to set up with what the deck author says. You'd be able to set up real easily with a couple traps, have a couple monsters on the board with extension up face up on the field too. So it's a pretty good turn 1 board. And then of course you have ways with your infinitrack monsters with things like the Earth Slicer to be able to easily cut through your opponent's defenses going second and try to take out their life points. So really powerful deck. Go through the list real quick. We have Cyber Style Evolution as our skill, 3 Cyber Dragon, the 1 Brutal Dozer, 1 Anchor Drill, 3 Cyber Dragon Veer, 3 Infinitrack Harvester, 3 Cyber Dragon Core, 3 Sidra Naxter, 1 Infinitrack Drag Shovel, 1 Trencher, 2 Crab Crane, 1 of the Tunneler, and then for our spells we have 1 Sidra Rev System, 3 Heavy Forward, 2 Outrigger Ascension, 1 Spin Turn, and 1 Cybernetic Overflow. Extra deck, we have the 1 of Super Dreadnought Rail Cannon, 1 Earth Slicer, 1 Chronomaly Vimana, 1 Infinitrack River Stormer, 2 Infinitrack River Stormer, and then 1 of the Mountain Slicer and 2 Infinitrack Goliath. And the great thing is a lot of these things also got reprinted in the selection box, so if you did happen to dig through it, you should be able to get a lot of those cards pretty easily through there. Next up, we have a Orcust Charmer deck. Now, this is definitely more of an Orcust list, and we're using the Charmers mostly just to support the Orcust monsters, but it is nice to see some way that we're taking advantage of the new cards that came out of the most recent structure deck. The main card that we're taking advantage of is the Spirit Charmer. So this allows you to discard a card and add 2 cards from your deck to hand that have different names from each other that are Charmer monsters or Familiar Possessed or Possessed Spell or Traps. You get to add 1 to your hand, and then you get to set the other to the field. So it makes it really easy to 1, discard your Orcust monster so you can dump the Harp Pourer or whatever into the graveyard to get your combos going, and also you get a free monster into your hand that you can normal summon and then link off with whatever you summon off the Harp Pourer so you can get your Orcust combo plays going. It's just a really neat way to get them to get your play started. Well, again, it's just another way to do it, right? It's just a fun way to use the Charmers. There's not too many other ways to do. So I love the Spirit Charmers, but they're just not that great. Unfortunately, they're not very viable in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! So this is just at least some way to take advantage of them. However, Possessed Partnerships is not a terrible card. You get a special summon a spellcast with 300 defense from your hand, or graveyard in attack mode, or face-up defense mode. Then if you control 2 or more different, or monster with 2 or more different attributes, you can destroy 1 face-up card on the field. Then you can banish a card from your graveyard, target a possessed continuous spell or trap in your graveyard, and put it face-up onto your field. So you do have a little bit of cool plays you can do with the Possessed Partnerships. It is a pretty cool card. But outside of that, though, there's not really a whole lot else, outside of like your standard Orcust plays going for it. It's just a neat way to use the Spirit Charmer play. So we have the 3 effects as our skill, 1 Harp Pourer, we have 2 Scrap Recycler, 2 Orcust Nightmare, 1 Symbol Skeleton, 1 Asa, 1 Lina the Wind Charmer, 1 Wind the Wind Charmer, and then 1 World Legacy World Wand. We have 3 Spirit Charmers, 1 Orchestrated Babel, 1 Book of Moon, a single Orchestrated Return, 1 Possessed Partnerships, and then we have 3 copies of Needle Stealing in our main deck. And then going into our extra deck, we have the 2 Dingirsu, 1 Nightmare Unicorn, 1 Decode Talker, 2 Galatea of the Orcust Automatron, 1 Lung Girsu, and then the 1 Nightmare Phoenix rounding out this Orcust deck. So moving on, we have a banish control deck. Oh, something I forgot to mention about our last deck, the Charmer deck. This is actually from Quantum Cubes, who went on a 15 win streak with it. I believe he actually posted a YouTube video on this as well. I will try to link that in the description if I remember. I will post all the deck lists will be in the description of the video, so I'll try to remember to put the his YouTube video in there as well. And speaking of that, I believe Duel Link Straw also is a YouTuber who put a YouTube video on this deck as well, so I'll be sure to link that in the description as well. This is banish control, as he calls it, or as they call it. And as you can see, we have a 30 card deck here, and 27 of the cards in here banish cards from our opponent's field or graveyard. The only one that does not is the Storm Dragon's Return. It's the super rare trap card at the bottom of the deck here. It says target one banished monster from either player's banish pile and special summon it to your field, but it gets returned to the hand during the end phase, and cards get returned to their owner's hands. So if you bring back your opponent's monster, it will go back to their hand, but you can bring back your DD Warrior Ladies or your Assailants back to your hand and reuse them. So pretty cool card to go with this, but yeah, we're just trying to be a real pain in the ass for our opponents and just literally banish everything they have. We're using Holy Guard as our skill, so we don't care about losing life points on our turn, and that just lets us ram our, like I said, our Warrior Ladies, our Assailants, and our DD Warriors into anything to banish them. We got triple DeFi, and like I said, every single card in this deck banishes, from the Bottomless to Dimensional Prisons, IDP, everything. So go through it real quick. It's just a really cool, fun deck that I saw and I wanted to showcase. A different kind of thing to go on a win streak, right? So Holy Guard is our skill. Mentioned a 3 DD Warrior Lady, 3 DD Assailant, 3 DD Crow, and 3 DD Warrior. We have 3 Dimensional Fissure, 3 Ice Dragon Prison, 3 Bottomless, 3 Chain Disappearance, 3 Dimensional Prison, and then 3 of the Storm Dragon's Return. Only 6 monsters in our extra deck. We have 3 of the Utopia monsters, Utopia Ray, Standard Utopia, and Utopia the Lightning. Plus we have the 2 Unicorn monster, or the 2 Nightmare monsters, Unicorn and Phoenix, as well as the Ferocious Flame Swordman, which has been seeing play quite a bit recently in the Destiny hero decks that have been doing pretty well in the metagame. Last, we have a Poker Knights deck. Now, this actually got top 4 in the Quantum Dailies. I believe those are the tournaments that are hosted by Quantum Cube. Someone can correct me in the description or the comment section below if I'm wrong. But now, we saw this just recently, but this is another deck that got new support out of the most recent selection box. And I'm not just talking about the Lost Winds that you can see in the deck here. We also have a new trap card that came out for this archetype called Court of Cards. It's a continuous trap card that says if you control no monsters or only control a Queen's Knight, a King's Knight, or a Jack's Knight, you can special summon one Queen's Knight, King's Knight, or Jack's Knight from your hand or graveyard. You can also banish up to one Queen's Knight, King's Knight, or Jack's Knight from your hand or graveyard to draw the same number of cards you banished. You can only use one effect per turn and only once that turn. So a pretty cool card. It gives you a way to draw cards, special summon your monster to the grave, or special summon your monsters to the field, even get them back from the graveyard so you can get back resources if you use them up. It's always just nice to see like decks like this that were, cards that were popular in the anime get support in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! To try to make them more viable, because obviously a lot of these just are not useful in the way the game is played nowadays. They need powerful cards to try to help make these decks like this powerful, like Dark Magician and Blue Eyes and stuff like this. So always good to see them getting new cards like this. Go through the skill. Of course, Gathering of Cards is our skill. It's the one that goes with the Queen's Knight, Jack Knight a card archetype here. We also have 2 of the Arcana Triumph Joker, our level 10 boss monster. We have 1 Silent Swordsman. I think we talked about a deck like this a couple weeks ago that was using this with the Silent Swords class. You can banish it from your graveyard, get the Silent Swordsman in hand, and go into your combos. We're not using the big Silent Swordsman here in this deck, though, just the small one here, but that's okay, because this still negates spell cards. We also have 3 of the Imperial Bower, 3 King's Knight, 1 Jack's Knight, and 3 Queen's Knight. We have 1 Reinforcement of the Army, 3 Joker Straight, 1 Silent Sword Slash, 2 Lost Wind, 1 Ice Dragon Prison, a single Warning Point, 2 of the Quarter Cards, 3 Expendable Die, and 3 Karma Cut, rounding out the main deck. And then for our extra deck, we have a whole bunch of rank 4s plus Nightmare Phoenix. We have Heroic Champion Excalibur, Starleaf Paladynamo, number 39 Utopia, Utopia the Lightning. We also have the new Evil Swarm Exciton Knight just came out of the most recent selection box. This card is really making an impact on the metagame right now for going second. Makes it very easy to try to clean out your opponent's board and make a push. Well, not make a push that turn, but at least clean out their board and try to take control of the game at that point. We also have 1 Bujinte Tsukuyomi, 1 Photon Papillon Operative, and then I mentioned the 1 of Nightmare Phoenix in the deck, rounding out this list and this episode of Spicy Decks of the Week. So if you guys liked the video, please be sure to like and subscribe. It helps out the channel. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate all the support, and you guys have a wonderful rest of the day.